So, a really good movie that came out in 2009 was a movie starring Ricky Gervais. It's called The Invention of Lying. Why I like this movie is because it was interesting from the beginning. It shows a totally different universe than what we're living in now, where, people are just fully honest with people, regardless of how hard or how harsh the truth actually is. And people can take it, they can deal with it because that's all they know. Until one day, uh, the main character, Ricky Gervais, he figures out how to lie out of necessity. And but there's not even a term for it. So when he even tries to explain what his friends, what he did is not like he said he lied. He says, I said something that wasn't. And they be like, wait, what? And then he gives examples and they just keep believing everything that he says. And then he becomes this individual who everybody is looking at like, how is he able to do all of these things? And it's because he's laid claim that he's something that he's not. And it's an interesting movie. I like the movie a lot because it makes me realize, like, in real life, most people, the people that you deal with on a daily basis, your coworkers, everybody to some degree lies about something. And it has to it should make you ask the question, well, how would this world be if everybody was 100% honest with people, 100% honest with how people felt? And I think that the reasons why people lie all the time is out of fear of what can happen. Not necessarily even to them, though. Out of what can happen to the other person, because the truth can be very painful. It could be very strong. It could be very sharp. It can really hurt people. And so just imagine if the people that you interacted with on a daily basis, when they ask your opinion about certain things, if you hit them with that harsh truth, that harsh reality. Now, I know some people are listening and saying, hey, I can take it. I'm one of those individuals. However, I understand and why people tell the lies that they tell. But then it becomes a whole nother thing when it comes to the ninth commandment, which is, when people bear false witness. Now, I used to think that the ninth commandment was, thou shalt not lie. But then, reading the book of Exodus, growing up as a kid, I discovered is thou shalt not bear false witness. Is actually, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Is actually referring to how we deal with each other. And while it might sound like you're saying, well, don't lie on this person, at the same time, when we lie to people to protect their so-called uh, feelings, it is against them because it gives them a false belief about themselves. And so we're bearing a false witness. That's why it's so close to the whole aspect of thou shalt not lie. But you got to be careful with that. There are so many different warning signs to people who are giving a false report. It says, thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked and be an unrighteous witness. I noticed that witness is in there as well. This is not like just thou shalt not lie. It's thou shalt not bear false witness. A lot of times when people refer to things in the Bible, to not say for the exact same reason to not hurt other people's feelings, people want to sugarcoat what actually is written in the Bible. When they talk about, this being against God or that being against God, and being as though you know that this person does this, you don't want to hurt that person's feelings. So you often want to refer to God's love, but you don't want to refer to God's hate. And that aspect, you as a religious person, as a Christian or as a spiritual person, however you view yourself, I got to ask myself the question, am I bearing a false witness? And what is more important to me? Hurting this person's feelings or representing God properly? There are a lot of things that me personally that I do in my life and have done in my life that wasn't the most positive, and I done them. If you tell me that I'm wrong for doing these things, whether it be getting drunk or, having, you know, living promiscuous with a lot of women, whatever the case may be, like, it's not, you're bearing a true witness. It doesn't mean that, like, it's any hate towards me. but I gotta tell the truth. When it comes to representing and talking about the gospel and everything that Christ has done, I gotta represent the truth and not have to worry about a debate with anybody. Because at the end of the day, a witness is not someone that debates. A witness is someone that recalls accounts as to the things that actually happened. Here's a definition right here. So I'm recalling the accounts of what actually happened. And people can say, well, I don't believe it. Well, it really doesn't matter what you believe. This is the truth. I know the truth. I am speaking the truth. And the truth is what made me free. I don't have to live under a lie. I don't have to live under sugarcoating something just because, your feelings are involved. I have to live by the truth. It said if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So if you live by the truth and you die by the truth, then wouldn't that be a better way? I mean, don't we all die? We think that it's for the benefit of someone else's feelings, but what that comes down to is our own fear of what that person may think, our own fear of that individual's reactions. And we all know that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind. At the end of the day, when I'm talking about anything from the word, I got to speak the truth. When it comes to these celebrities that they're putting out all of these allegations about, and they're doing it now about so many different celebrities and so many different music artists, especially the darker complexion male music artists, they always want to put all of these allegations against. And being as though they're doing all of these things, do I get in and say he did this because it's funny, because it sounds fun? Or do I speak the truth of the matter? Because if I say, here's a news flash for a lot of people who don't get this. If I say so and so did this, and I type that out, or as a comment on social media, and I put that out there, and it comes out that that person actually, and I didn't know this though, but it comes out that person actually did it, I still bear the false witness. I'm like, well, how's it so? It came out that he did it. Yeah, but I didn't know that. You have to bear witness to what you actually know instead of speaking about things and about businesses that you don't know. I can tell you for a fact that when it comes to celebrities and when it comes to politics, you don't know anything. Everybody can speculate, but you don't know anything unless you're actually there. And a lot of the people that are there are bearing false witnesses for clout, bearing false witnesses to go on podcasts and things of that nature. Why are you joining in with these people? Because believe me when I tell you, there are like consequences to bearing false witnesses. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. That's a good example right there. It says, a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. I think like, wow, that's kind of just so not just a person speaking lies, because it says a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish. Don't be the bearer of a false witness. Just because people are accusing somebody of something doesn't mean that they actually did it. Sometimes that's somebody else that has another agenda that's putting information out there. But I will tell you this, something that really, like, it's two things that really stick with me. Something my father would tell me was, and it sounds cliche, but he would say, honesty is the best policy. In everything, like, honesty is the best policy. And I get that. But the other thing that really stuck with me throughout, reading the word and understanding the word is in the book of Revelation. It says, it's Revelation 21:8. It says, but, and here's the funny thing, but the fearful, we talked about the fearful, but the fearful, and it starts off with them. Okay. But it says, but the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and the murderers and the whoremongers and the sorcerers and the idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. And we know that the second death hath no power. It's like, I don't know why all liars stuck out to me, but we really, really need to be mindful of the things that are partaking in just because society has us partaking in these things. Try not to always just join in with the fun, because a lot of things that might seem like they're fun really, in the long run, is going to be far from fun. It's also talk about in the book of Malachi, it says, I will come near to you it says, and I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers and against the adulterers and against false swearers and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from the right. And fear not me, saith the Lord of hosts. The word is true. The word is powerful. Don't just think that lying to someone or bearing a false witness about an individual, especially bearing a false witness about your neighbor, is something that's going to be swept under the rug that no one's going to care about. Know the truth, represent the truth, live in the truth, and the truth will make you free.